Hey everybody, I'm Greg Colossale, and I want to welcome you to a little roadside talk. I've been doing a lot of these. I'm in my favorite place that I've ever found in a long time, and that's called Pioneer Town. Look at behind me. Look at these rocks behind me. I don't know, there's something really special about this place. I'm also very close to the road, so you're likely going to hear a lot of cars. I am literally 3 feet, 5 feet from 60-mile-an-hour cars. But I don't care. Sorry about the noise. Ladies and gentlemen, as I teach more and more, because I'm realizing my teaching is online. It happened during COVID. I'm very kind of moving. I'm nomadic. I have seasonal work, and my life is pretty unique. But I've been teaching my whole life, so I'm going to continue to do it. And this is the most powerful weapon I've ever had: a phone with a camera on it. It's amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's no secret that I'm worried about the boys. I'm always, I spent my life in the arts, and I started my adult life building up the girls, like most people do and should. I didn't do it because I thought they were broken. I've been supporting my mom and teaching my dad, my immigrant dad. They're all passed away now. About the tenderness of my mom and how to treat her. He was very old school, literally from the 30s. So there's it's almost 100 years ago when you think about it. So he had a chauvinistic approach to women, but he wasn't American. He just, and I don't even my mom understood why. So I don't want to alienate him or make him bad. He was, it was the times. In the 30s, in impoverished places in Italy where my dad was from, they beat their women. They beat everybody. They beat each other and they beat women. So because he never hit her, he never beat her down, he really was like, I'm amazing. So if you ever knew my concept of learned love, it's like you love someone based on where they've been and who they are. By not hitting my mom, he achieved emotional growth compared to his old school family from the past. So I appraised him. It sounds weird because he was so aggressive to everyone. But it was an achievement for him. It was an achievement for him. I'm still going through puberty, it sounds like. Anyway, the point I'm making is today I need to talk to the boys about something fierce. Again, because I study and experience things so much, it's beyond the mainstream. I've come to some major conclusions. And this isn't like I feel this way and I read a meme and now I'm going to say it. These are heavily researched social concepts that I've experienced and have studied over decades. Okay, so the thing that I've learned that I don't want to learn anymore is that if you understand that children, animals, and this is gonna sound weird, but children, animals, and most girls, now it's a double, right? The children and the girls. They're born with extreme openness, sensitivity, like a fertile land for absorption. Okay, boys are too. This isn't fair to say boys aren't, but I put them in the children category. When you're a female child, you're going to even have more of this. Okay, this is why we've always taken, I think, in the history of man, we put girls on a pedestal, as in these moments of their lives, you see how uniquely, their energy is not of this earth, and soon it'll die away. They'll become egocentric humans like all of us, and have the not so nice things that we all have. But in the first, youth, it's amazing. Now, what I'm talking to these men is that I'm getting really tired of having to come encounter really sick, savage, damaged, violent, lying, disordered, addicted, monstrous women who do damage. And almost every single time, it's because in their start of this earth and start on this planet, some demonstrative, weak, disgusting piece of whatever has attacked and destroyed that energy I just told you about. So they go through life with this burden, of rage and disgust and shame and all this stuff. You know why? Because they were once innocent and now they are tainted. If you look closely, you're gonna see that this circle of demonic energy, I call it, it has the perversion, diabolical sexual gratification and victimization and violence that males, notice I'm doing a half circle, that males put out there into the world, okay? And then it has the manipulation, deception, almost cold-hearted, gossip-driven, smearing, destruction aspect of how a woman, a female, will create harm in your life or other people's lives, okay? You have that Ghislaine Maxwell thing where you have this woman who lured beautiful babies into a hell of being eaten by monsters. There's Emmett Till. Emmett Till was the most powerful story in America based on civil rights. His death sparked Rosa Parks to sit in the front of the bus. Who's Emmett Till? Look him up. The story is horrendously dark and it breaks my heart. I talk about him like every 60 days, it seems like. Why did that happen? Well, a woman lied. A woman used all that evil I put in the half circle, told an alpha male who's out of his mind, and they went and tortured a 14-year-old boy in horrendous ways. Now, I just put that out there. That's a lot to swallow. What happens when they're attacked and destroyed and put into this hell of a tailspin? A female? Males. I always support males, so I'm going to leave it to females here. They can only appear to be, well, that means the eye. They're going to have beautiful, sexy looks. They're going to have amazing outfits. They're going to feel amazing about themselves. They're going to believe this is the development, because it's going to get pathological, of narcissism. And I'm so hard on narcissists. Boys the same thing happens to boys too. That's why I don't want to kick them out too bad. So and these are what we call personality disorders. So you might find an old video of mine where I go, there's only one mental health issue, okay? In my opinion. When I think of mental illness, when you say that word mental illness, the word illness is something that people are stricken with. Sometimes it's done on your own accord. Like if you eat pounds of sugar every day, you'll probably become a diabetic. But illness is sometimes just an innocent, you don't plan on it. No one's really, no one knows, oh God, I've made myself get cancer. Cancer's an illness and it's stricken on people and it's horrifying. I have an illness, a true illness. I have Lyme disease. I'm just walking around and a tick jumped on me and bit me and transferred this bacteria, virus crap, and it's changed my entire life. So that's why I'm hard on the word mental illness. Everything else are conditioned behaviors and responses to horrible things that happen. And that's where you come in to your personality disorders. That's why when I say there's only one, and I hurt everyone, I'm not trying to hurt you. You shouldn't listen to me as you're healing. You should find hope and take some steps to move in the right direction by believing this. Paranoid schizophrenia is when you hear and see things that aren't there. Hallucinations. Do you know that is the most painful, unbelievable, stressful thing to go through in life? I think. I swear to God, I just cannot. I never felt hop on the bandwagon. And then Mr. C is crazy. When you understand that as a youth we are sponge, I'm going to tell you a story, an amazing story about my amazing mama. Okay. When you hear this, you're going to go, no, this isn't true. It is 100% true. It's 100% true. It's crazy, the power and the things that have happened to my family. That's why I talk to people so much online and teaching, because I believe I'm a conduit of hope most of the time. I am, because my own roots, my blood, just one generation ago, my parents have seen and lived through unbelievable stuff. Movies, like it's a movie, and I'm working on the book. So when my sweet mama was 10 years old, she grew up in New Britain, in the projects of New Britain, Connecticut, which is like a working class town, okay? And it was considered a city, but it's very small, 100,000 people, 80,000 people, very congested, small in square miles, very tiny, lots of streets, lots of good people there. lots of good people. Immigrants that came over from Europe packed the city because it was a great place to work. Lots of 3-family homes, 1,400 square foot per floor, and people raised their entire families there. Beautiful people there. I can't lie. I really love my hometown. My mom was 10 years old, and she was outside playing. She was the oldest. Her name was Ginger, also known as Virginia. And this guy tried to pick her up. He said, hey, hop in the car. He did that weird child predator, you know. So she did. She was 10 years old. She got in the car and she went for a ride. He did the whole thing your mom sent me, you know, those the manipulative, disgusting, predatory things. She got in the car and he started driving. And before she died, she told me this story in great detail, and I was shocked at what she was telling me. She literally would die about 30 days later after explaining this to me in depth. So they're driving around, and she knows something is wrong, and it's a nice day. It's like hot out. So it's a big car, and she gets very scared, and he starts to make his move, and she starts crying, screaming and crying and screaming and crying and screaming and crying. Very, very loud. Another thing that you're going to understand is the weapon of the female. It's designed this way. Their scream and their vocalizing is their self-defense, and many animals on earth have that. So it works. He gets so scared and nervous that he just wants this to end. And it's a little neighborhood. He's not in the open fields. Everyone can see this. If she's screaming her brains out, attention is being drawn. And just to help you with the year, it would be 1953 this happened. So he gets scared and he pulls over because he's never done this before, we've learned. And he gives her a dime, okay? He says, here, take this dime. Don't tell anybody that whole thing. This is why I hate these people. This is the part where evil wants you to not tell anybody. So she has the dime. It worked. She's calming down because she knows she's going to be free. She jumps out of the car and she runs away from the car. Now, remember, she was outside playing. Mom wasn't looking. Nobody's looking for her. She's the oldest, in fact. She might have, you know. And there's a market or a shop. What would you call that? Yeah, like a little shop every corner back then. And so she's walking and she's kind of upset. And she goes into the shop and she buys some candy with the dime. And she goes home and I don't really know the details when she told mom and dad or my grandma, but that was what happened. Well, come to find out, about a year later, after doing this probably many times, this guy did it for real. He found a little girl and he went all the way. He destroyed her life by doing this deviance. Now they arrest. Now she's on the stand. Think about the court cases. He's on the stand. She's on the stand. He's at the table with his lawyer, and this is crazy. She's being, I think you would call it, cross-examined by the attorney. Okay, she's 10 years old. My mother at 10 was probably like 5. She was extremely innocent. That's kind of like me. The lawyer's very nasty, and so as she's just sitting there, and they're going to try to put him away, the lawyer, the defendant's lawyer, says, So Ginger, remember she's a little girl. This story that you told us, people think that good-hearted people make up stories because they want to go to court. They want people's attention. Evil people, that's called gaslighting, throw that in the mix so that you think they're lying. That's what, when you do evil, you need to gaslight, because most people are good and don't like evil. So they go, well, Ginger, how come when you got out of the car after describing this whole incident, why would you go running into a store and buy candy? Like, it doesn't sound like you were that afraid. You didn't go find your mom or your dad. Are you sure? Are you sure this happened? This is how people protect evil. And she's confused. She doesn't know, like, why would you not believe me? The only people who don't believe you are liars. So if you've ever destroyed someone's life with lies, you think everybody lies. That's how it is. It's the number one game in the game. So you know what you've done, and then you think everyone's done it. Okay, and it's not true. This is why people end up in bad situations. So as he's pounding on my mom, saying these horrible things, she's so confused. And then she said something, which I can't remember the exact words, but she was like, "Oh, you've never been poor." And he's kind of like, and she goes, I don't get dimes very often, so I didn't want my mom to know, so I went and got candy, and I don't get dimes. Okay, she was so poor that when you give her a dime and the trauma's over and she escapes and there's no one there for her, remember, she's alone. She's not really, this is 1953. They were raising themselves. She, on her way home, she goes into the shop. She can't bring a dime home. A dime, her father was a gambler, a big time gambler, a troubled gambler. A dime will not be hers. So she turns a dime into candy and go. This move makes the lawyer jump on it. Like, "Oh, you bought candy. You weren't sexually attacked." Or tried to. Anyway, my mother's confidence at 10 years old, there he is. She told me very clearly. She goes, "Greg, he was staring at me. I was so afraid." And I was like, "Mom, how did you have that confidence?" She goes, "You know, Greg, I always think it was God. I think it was God." And, you know, we're not really a religious family, but she's always had that amazing protective bubble around her. I could tell you stories, it's just unbelievable. So because of my mother's testimony, go Ginger, yeah, this guy was put in prison, only for, I think, a couple years, but at least he was off the streets, and maybe people were safe. Now that was my mom, 10 years old, having the courage to be, cross-examined by a lawyer, and scared and crying, and he got put away for his crimes. Now, the girl who was actually attacked has passed away, like my mom, but without my mom, this girl would have no justice. The word is justice. He would never have gone to jail if it wasn't for my mom. And I find this to be so beautiful, it's crazy. So, you see what I mean? Again, my mother was beautiful, and if you've seen pictures of her, she's like totally a movie baby. And a sludge-filled man had to come and hurt her. I'm sure that's by the time she was 19, because of that, she chose to marry a grizzly bear. She chose the biggest protector, the most aggressive thing I've ever come across in my life, and that was my father. And I believe it had to do with losing, that innocence, being afraid at those crucial times. So this is why, I support men. I know that I've never hurt anybody like that. I don't attack people, but there are men that do. And there are women who lose their sense of self because I always say, in their first 20 years on earth, somebody hurt them bad. And it's often a sexual attack by a male. And boys too. You see, that's why I'm saying you can't just dump the boys. This is too black and white to just leave out the boys. So, boys, men, as I address you again, having a responsible energy, having an understanding that this might have happened. Often, when you go to a shrink, these poor girls, for their coping mechanisms, are going to get the names NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, BPD, borderline personality disorder, and HPD, histrionic personality disorder, and probably a couple others. This can also spark eating disorders. This can spark a whole bunch of things, which are now, when you open the doors to it, we call those mental health issues. But do you see what I mean? Those are actually healing responses to a crime. So when I say mental illness, I'm really off on this. I know it's not the mainstream definition. Under mental illness, they have these 272 descriptions. I believe illness, meaning there's one, and paranoid schizophrenia can also be brought on by trauma. But it is this deeply rooted, almost biological breakdown that I don't think you can escape from sometimes. So that's why I call the illness only one, and these many, many 272 other characteristics are a trauma response. And that's why I'm talking to the boys and saying, you have to understand this reality. And then, of course, I'm talking to the traumatized boys. I know that you were attacked, and I know that you too suffer from these same symptoms, and you have the same descriptions. Loving you hasn't worked. I've tried that. Helping you hasn't worked. I don't know how to do anything. So I'm just putting this out there and letting you know, smart people understand this. Okay? I don't believe you need to spend your life in front of a therapist and on medication and stuff. But as you build your resilience, you do whatever you got to do. It's not hurting anybody, you do it. So keep an open mind. You know, I'm not right. I don't think I'm ever right, but I should be put in the pot and stirred a little bit, because I've seen this my whole entire life. I've been studying this my whole entire life. When Learn Love, if you know my past, Learn Love was the secret message to 25,000 kids to go, before you judge somebody, and I'm guilty. I am no Jesus. I've been so hard on people who have been attacked. It's almost embarrassing. Before you judge someone, make sure you know where they come from. That's what Learn Love is. You know, that you say, oh, wait a minute. This guy just landed here from Uganda. In Uganda, he's seen horrible violence. So if he's a little edgy, talks to you a little rough, you keep it, huh, what a jerk. Of course he's a jerk. He's watched people beheaded. And when he was, you know, so be open and try to help people as much as you can without even letting them know you're helping them, by just being a conduit, by just being a calm road that they can drive on. Okay, I love you, Ginger. I miss you so much. I will always think of you. I miss you so much, Mama. I love you so dearly. Thanks for the little life that I have. Thanks for putting me on the planet. I will fight for you until I die. And thank you too, Dad. I can't believe what you did for me. I can't believe all you've done and all you've given up for me. I love you both. And to all you out there, I feel the same way. See ya.